What do you do when the one person you trust most stands by, watching, as someone else rips your dignity apart? And that betrayal? It's only the beginning. The sound of his footsteps, the moment he walked toward our table, was like the first crack of ice breaking beneath your feet. Not fear, not confusion, just the quiet rage that comes when you can no longer deny the truth you've tried to ignore. We were at Volmont's, Zurich's most exclusive restaurant. The chandeliers above glinted like diamonds, the soft hum of a baby grand piano curling through the air. A place where elegance could suffocate you if you weren't careful. Across from me sat my wife, Celine. Her raven black hair tumbled over her shoulder, her wine-red dress hanging perfectly on her slim frame, but her eyes? Cold, distant. For months, she'd been slipping away from me. Late nights at work, whispered calls in the bathroom, sudden business trips. Something was off. I just didn't want to face it. I had planned this dinner, a last-ditch effort to reconnect, to break through the wall she had built around herself. But when the shadow fell across our table, everything shattered. A man in his mid-30s stood over us, his tailored charcoal suit hugging his athletic build like it had been sewn by gods themselves. But it wasn't the cut of his suit that caught my attention. It was the smirk on his face. "Celine," he said smoothly, ignoring me entirely. "Didn't expect to see you here tonight." Her breath hitched. Her wine glass trembled in her hand. "Nolan," she whispered. I had never heard the name before, but I could see it in her eyes. The guilt, the familiarity. This wasn't a coincidence. This was planned. He extended his hand, not just an invitation, but a demand. "Why waste your time with this suit?" he sneered. "Come dance with me. Let me show you what a real man can do." The restaurant fell silent. Conversation stopped. The weight of every eye in the room pressed down on me. Celine froze, her fingers still caught in his. I stood slowly, my chair scraping across the floor like a warning. "You've got 3 seconds to let go of her hand," I said, my voice low. Nolan turned to face me, a lazy grin on his lips. "Or what?" That's when the sound came. A sickening crack, the snap of bone under pressure. Nolan howled, collapsing to the floor, clutching his shattered hand, gasping in pain. Celine jumped up, her eyes wide. "Cade, what are you doing?" I crouched beside him, my voice a cold whisper. "This is just the beginning. You chose the wrong man to provoke." He stared up at me, sweating, pale. "You'll regret this." I stood, looked at Celine. "Let's go." Her hesitation hung in the air like smoke, but eventually she followed, her heels clicking behind me, echoing in the silence of the restaurant. The whispers followed us like shadows. The car ride home was worse than the silence of the restaurant. It was suffocating, thick with everything unsaid. Once we parked in the garage, I killed the engine and turned to face her. "Talk," I demanded. Celine shrank into her seat, her voice breaking. "Cade, I don't know what to say." "Start with the truth," I replied, my eyes never leaving her face. Her voice cracked as she whispered, 6 months. It started 6 months ago. I let the words settle in the silence. My numbness was replacing the rage. "So, what was tonight? A surprise ambush? Or were you hoping he'd mark his territory in front of me?" Her eyes widened, and she gasped. "I didn't know he'd be here. I swear." "Don't insult me, Celine. You knew. I saw your face." And then she broke. Sobs racked her body as she covered her face, trying to hide her shame. But I wasn't here to offer comfort. The next morning, with Zurich's skyline glowing in the distance, I sat in my office overlooking the city. My hands weren't shaking. My mind was clear. I wasn't planning revenge out of spite. I was planning it because betrayal needs consequences. I started with Nolan. In less than 48 hours, I had his life mapped out. The fake persona he had built, the luxury cars, private jets, designer watches, was all smoke and mirrors, held together by fraudulent loans and mounting debts. I pulled the strings I had access to. I reached out to an investigative journalist, someone who could expose Nolan's entire web of lies with a single column. The Zurich Elite Gala came, and Nolan was publicly torn down. Headlines screamed, "Nolan Bishop exposed in high-profile fraud scandal." His bank accounts froze. His assets were seized. His reputation crumbled. The perfect image he'd built shattered in an instant. Meanwhile, I gathered everything I needed on Celine. Screenshots, call logs, emails, proof of her infidelity, quiet and cold. When I handed her the divorce papers, she looked at me like I was the one drowning. "You don't have to destroy me," she whispered. "You destroyed us," I said, my voice hard as steel. Our prenup ensured she walked away with nothing. She contested it, but I dropped the proof in front of her, irrefutable. She didn't show up at the next hearing. Months passed. Celine's friends stopped calling. Her invitations dried up. Her family disappeared into silence, too ashamed to be associated with her. Nolan. The rumors said he had run to Bali, hiding from creditors. And me? I thrived. My business expanded. The house, once filled with tension, now hummed with quiet peace. No more rage, no more shame, just resilience. Months later, at a charity benefit, I met Isla Duval, a historian from Vienna. She was sharp, genuine, and didn't care about wealth. We spoke for hours, and I felt the weight of my past lift with every laugh we shared. That night, standing alone on my balcony, I looked out over the city that had once witnessed my downfall now saw my rebirth. I raised a glass to the stars. Betrayal cuts deep, but the blade can carve